Greetings from chess.com. Today I am going to cover the profile of India's 48th Grandmaster Anurag Mhamal. It is his birthday today. So happy birthday Anurag. Anurag Mhamal is Goa's first Grandmaster. He started at the age of 6 and he played a tournament in his school and won all of his games, and that inspired him to know more about chess. He has become a state champion many times. He has also participated in many international events. He became Goa's first international master as well. So he scored 5 Grandmaster norms and then ultimately touched 2500 rating. And the first norm came in 2012 in Kolkata. And then he scored all the remaining norms in different events, as you can see. And I'm also going to cover one of his best games that he played in Pardubice, where he got his third and final Grandmaster norm. So in 2017, he became India's 48th Grandmaster. So throughout his journey, he has played in different events. He's also got top positions in tournaments like Johor Bahru in Malaysia. And when I told him about the series that we are doing, he was very kind enough to share some of the other things about his career. So he told me about his favorite books, favorite movies, favorite player. He likes Magnus Carlsen because he feels that this ability that Magnus has to grind down any position, that is what makes him his favorite player. And he doesn't have a specific favorite opening, but he likes to choose his openings based on the situation. That's very true, because when I was preparing against him, I also felt the same. It's very difficult to predict what he would play, but he chooses openings based on what the situation demands. And from the books that he has mentioned, I would also suggest all of you to definitely check out Learn from the Legends by Mikhail. There is a particular chapter on Petrosian which features exchange sacrifices, so it's very nice. And he has also shared some of his favorite movies, as you can see. Good Will Hunting and Argo are 2 movies I am not aware of, but the other movies I have definitely seen and they are all good. And he also harbors a special interest in water sports. And if he wants to unwind, he says that he goes for a walk and also does trekking sometimes. And he recently got married to Nandini Saripalli, who is also from Goa. And Nandini's brother is Neeraj Saripalli. Together they have a YouTube channel called Goan Chess Trio, in which they are all posting chess content. Definitely check them out. And Nandini is also active on Twitch, and sometimes Anurag, Neeraj and Nandini, they all stream chess, so you definitely check out. And now I'm going to take you through an interesting game played by Anurag, and let me get that here. This is a game between Yufa Daniel and Anurag Mhamal. So Anurag has himself shared his thoughts about this particular game in his video. I would definitely suggest you to take a look at it. I really wanted to cover this game on chess.com India's YouTube channel because it has a brilliant sacrifice. There is a moment in which Anurag displays Tal-like attitude where he gives 3 pieces and then still has winning chances in the game. So let's look at this interesting game played by Anurag. It's coming from a Slav defense, and this move e3 became very popular after Boris Avrukh released his repertoire series published by Quality Chess, where he advocates e3 against the Slav defense. White usually aims to play for a long-term advantage. Sometimes he gets this bishop on f5 and then plays with this double bishop advantage. In return, black also has his own chances, and sometimes it's connected to a pawn break, and sometimes it's connected to a piece activity. In this game, after knight c3, e6, knight h4, Anurag played bishop e4. He's provoking white to play f3 so that white compromises a bit on his king safety. And after f3, bishop g6, queen b3, queen c7, bishop d2, bishop e7, Yufa played g3. And in this position, Anurag says that he came with bishop h5 over the board. And just 2 days prior to this game happened in 2016, so just 2 days prior to their game, Bologan had faced this against Korobov, and Korobov also scored a nice win in that game with the black side. After bishop h5, the idea is g5. He wants to capture the pawn on f3 and push this knight out. And I think it's a very nice move because it's a threatening move and you're not letting white to capture your bishop. Now bishop e2 happened in the game, and this was already considered by Anurag. He had prepared d takes c4 in return. Bishop c4 is not possible for the obvious reason that the pawn on f3 falls after g5. So in case of queen takes c4, he wanted to expand on the queen side. Usually when you are clarifying the situation in the center, you do it only when you have something in return, and in this case Anurag is hoping for a queen side play with a6 and b5. He cannot play b5 immediately because that drops a pawn, considering that the queen is hanging. So after a6, queen b3, c5, d5, here he decided to sacrifice a pawn. Now the idea of c5 is coming because black's pieces are okay and white's king is in the center. If you look at these king and if you look at the king and these pawns, they look shaky. Considering all these features, c5 definitely makes sense, and after d5 he played b5, giving up the pawn on e6, and after d takes e6 he played c4, and after ef7 he played bishop f7, and after queen c2 he developed his piece to c6. In this position, I think black has very good compensation, and probably this is a good moment for white to play castles, but he played knight f5. And here Anurag played bishop g6, which is interesting. He's pinning the queen and is ready to sacrifice the pawn on g7. So his point is that if white takes knight takes g7 in this position, he can simply play king f7 and connect his rooks. So in this position, Yufa played a3, and after castles, he played knight takes e7, and after queen takes e7. Again, in this position, I think black has a lot of activity. Queen is under attack. He cannot castle here. So queen c1 happened. And this is a good moment for you to take a look at what you would do as black. From my experience, when you are attacking against the uncastled king, time plays a major role. As Fisher said, chess is timing. If you give some space for white to breathe, then white will simply castle, and you have sacrificed a pawn, so you must be very consistent with your threats. And that is what Anurag does here. He plays a knight to a5, intending to go to b3 and fork. And you can't kill castle here, so bishop d1 happened. Now, as I advocate in most of my videos, that you must always pay attention to your opponent's last move and what drawback they could have. So in this position, after bishop d1, the drawback is that the d3 square can now be covered with the bishop. The idea is to simply not allow white to castle. This prevents the castling, and whenever possible in your game, I think this is also a good idea to do if you can prevent your opponent from castling. In this position, because there's no way to castle, if white played king f2, let's say for hope of artificially castling, it doesn't work because of knight b3. And if you play bishop into b3, there is knight e4 check followed by rook takes f3. Already quite a lot of deadly threats. The point being, if you take king takes f3, there is rook f8 check followed by queen f2, and then there's a king hunt that's going to happen. So yeah, ultimately it's going to result in a checkmate after knight g5, knight g6, and then h6, and then after that mate on g4. This did not happen in the game. After bishop d3, he played knight to e2, and it was again Anurag's turn to find out some way to pose a lot of threats. In this position, one of the fascinating moves is knight g4. The idea is after f takes g4, you can play knight b3. After bishop takes b3, you can play queen e4. Somewhat similar to what Anurag did in the game. Now let's look at what happened in the game. He played queen b7, attacking the pawn on f3. And after knight f4, he plays knight to b3 first, forcing this bishop to go to b3. And once this bishop leaves f3, he takes the pawn on f3, attacking the rook on h1. And after rook g1, he remains consistent with his threats. So, as Bent Larsen once said, you need 3 pieces to checkmate, and here Anurag is also ready with his reserve, and it works very well. The saying works very well for this game. You can see that he's displaying the Tal kind of a game here. After knight g4, he's threatening queen f2, and he's also threatening rook takes f4 and queen e2. So these are deadly threats and difficult to parry. His opponent played knight takes d3, and in this position Anurag played knight takes e3. Now the idea is to bring the rook to e8. He's now sacrificed 3 pieces with bishop into e3, and rook a e8 is coming. So there is no way for white to get out of this position, because there are three pieces already, and the the position is like so much better for black. When I saw this position, I was very excited, and there are three pieces that white has, and still he cannot really save himself. So in this position, he played rook a8, and after bishop into c4, simply took b takes c4, and after queen c4, he played king h8. e3 is about to fall. Now Yufa played king d2, and after queen takes e3 check, he played king c3, and now a simple pin and win with rook c8. And now after b3, Anurag says that he could have simply taken the queen, but he was in a mood to checkmate and play precise moves, and that's what he does. He plays rook f d8. Now he's intending to play queen takes d3. Now after rook a d1, he plays queen d4 check, and then takes the queen with rook takes c4. His opponent resigned, and that's how Anurag scored a brilliant victory over Yufa Daniel. I was very impressed with the game. Kudos to Anurag for playing such a fine game. I hope you enjoyed this game, dear friends, and if you're here for the first time, do like the video, do subscribe to our channel, and happy birthday, Anurag. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Also, I would like to point out that you can subscribe to Anurag's YouTube channel, and he also does chess coaching, so if you are interested in coaching, you can also contact him. I will be leaving the links to his YouTube channel at the bottom, so do give them some love, and I'll be back with another video soon. Until then, take care, bye bye.